Live stream starts in great suspense because my video isn't working, but now it is. Good evening, hello everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's Wednesday night solo creator Q&A, and tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about the new rumored DJI FPV drone. We'll of course talk about the Mavic or the Mini 2 and the Mavic Air 2 if you want to, and any other camera questions you have for me as we go through this chat, or drone questions, whatever. Ask them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them, or other people in the chat will answer them as well. If you feel so inclined, super chats are always appreciated, or super stickers too. That always works. And we'll get this started. So hope you're all doing well. It's Wednesday night. It's been dumping snow out here all day long. As my friends Brian and JW Pitbull can attest, it just has been dumping snow here like all day. So it's winter. Very, very, very much winter. So I know I saw some questions earlier. I'll try and get those. If I miss a question, then please ask it again in the chat. Sometimes the chat goes so fast, I just can't keep up. But I know Brian's here. View Chaser's here. Avi, good to see you. Philippe, sorry. Combo, hey Billy, how you doing? Bud Beaver, good to see you. Big Shot Ariel, JW Pitbull, Will Mofat, Anubis. Let's see. Jake's Drone Life, good to see you here. Richard Black, hope you're enjoying Fairbanks, man. I'm sure it's a little chilly, but it's probably very nice. Louis V, hello. Nicholas Hopkins, good to see you. Watching from work, Billy. Oh boy, dun dun dun. Marcel Robert, good to see you. Noah Temple, hello from Alaska, New Zealand. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember you. It's been a while though, so I hope you're doing well, man. Eddie Nunez, good to see you. Sonic Neutronic, and I think that's everybody. So it's great to have you all here. Trini Weeks, hi. Sunrise Water Media, good to see you all here. So, first off, I don't know if you've been following the leaked rumors of the DJI FPV drone that's out there. It's got everybody in a buzz. And my favorite thing about when a new rumored anything is announced is how many people immediately say it's going to be terrible and it's going to be crap. I mean, the same is true like with Tamron lenses when they've been announced. All the people in the camera community is, oh, they're terrible. They look at the charts and just go, yeah, it's going to be a terrible lens. And then it comes out, it's actually a really good lens and it's fantastic for the price. The same thing is true with I've seen just lots of people in the FPV community and, you know, whatever. It's not going to be for everybody. Nothing is for everybody. Like the Mini 2 isn't for everybody. The Air 2 isn't for everybody. The Mavic 2 Pro isn't for everybody. There's something that will fit your needs better than something else. But I think it's hilarious how people just go berserk and talk about how something's going to be terrible before anybody has even had a chance to see it yet. So, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's cool that DJI is, potentially going to open up FPV for more people, because if you're just jumping into FPV, like I built this drone last week, let's see, there we go. If I can keep my face, anyway, and unless you have a fair amount of electronics experience, it's a difficult hobby to jump into, but there's the chance now with FPV or DJI jumping in that it could be easier to jump into. So I'm curious to see what you all think about the DJI FPV quad. I mean, it looks cool. I think it'll be interesting to see like how it handles crashes, because I have crashed my drones multiple times. Billy, Combo FPV can attest to that. He and I have crashed together actually several times. We've run into each other flying FPV. So it looks like there's a lot of plastic on there. I don't know how well that's going to fare, but it also, I mean, it does look pretty sturdy. We'll have to see. So, hey, Bob Casey. Yeah, that's right. Mark H., welcome. So I'm looking forward to it. Here's my hopes, is that it's a good, solid FPV drone that does do FPV. But it would be amazing if it also had a switch that you could flip and it would just drop into GPS drone mode. That would be nice. I don't know if they'll do that. Be amazing if they did. So, but I'm curious. It's going to be fun. Yeah, let me know if you think you're going to buy it or not. I probably will, just to at least, the very least, to review it on the YouTube channel. And yeah, see what it can do. So Place It Here says he will buy it. Trini asks how my thoughts on how it's built. Man, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. That's going to be the thing. It is going to have to be built really solid. And my worry right now is that there's a lot of what looks like plastic on it. But that could be rubberized. It's, that could be a lot of different things. Hey, Danny Solo. Good evening. I used to live near Kansas City. I lived in Lake of the Ozarks area for a while. So it looks like there's a lot of plastic on it, and that is terribly concerning for wrecks, because it doesn't, like, how do you fix it? Like, are they going to provide spare parts readily? I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So we'll see. I think it'd be cool if they could do a few of those things. It'd be great. But the fact that it'll be kind of plug and play and maybe get a lot of people into FPV, I think is fantastic. So, I know somebody had asked about the Mavic Air 2. Oh, let's see. Mendy asks, do you film my talking headshots in a high shutter speed? How is it so sharp? It is so sharp because I use a Sony a7 III or a7S III, which is what I'm using right now, and an incredibly sharp G Master lens that's a 24mm 1.4, and it's probably one of the sharpest lenses on the planet. That's a big part of it. So, and then everything's in 4K. But it's going to YouTube at 1080p, but it's all being done here at 4K. So, hey, Dronescape. Let's see. Somebody asks, let's see. Do you think Felipe asks, do I think going with the extra features are worth the extra cost of the Mavic Air 2 over the Mavic Mini 2? I was thinking about getting the Mavic Air 2 combo with the smart controller, $1,300, $1,400. What's my opinion? So, Felipe, my opinion is that if you don't have like the Mavic 2 Pro or the Mavic 2 Zoom, and this is going to be your first jump into drones, the Mavic Air 2 is a great place to start. The smart controller is great. I have one. I like it a lot because I don't have to use my phone, and the screen is super bright, which is really, really nice. Plus, I can do other stuff like HDMI out, SD card right there, the footage goes into, and all of that. So the Mavic Air 2 is definitely superior if you plan on doing things like tracking yourself. If you want to fly in a little bit more extreme conditions, like especially in wind, because it just has more power to it, and you need to get somewhere faster. So that's the Mavic Air 2 is the way to go there. It's a great drone. You'll be happy with it. It's a very, very good drone. So Avi, I don't know how you say Grant, asked a question not related to FPV, although it is very related to FPV. What's my thoughts and concerns about remote ID? My thoughts and concerns about remote ID are that it's going to really wipe out a hobby, and in that hobby comes a lot of innovation for not just drones, but flight, period. Airplanes, all kinds of stuff comes from people tinkering. And if the FAA decides to lock it down that tight, then it's going to make innovation very difficult. So my big concerns are if they go through with a lot of it, then it's going to be more expensive. The cost to get into doing drone work commercially and otherwise is going to be more prohibitively expensive to jump into it. And I think it'll make a lot of people just fly outside the rule of law if it's too restrictive. So we'll see. Trini, you think, Big Shot area, have I tried the Sony 200 to 600? I have not, Big Shot, but I am wanting to. I want to very, very much. The problem right now, if you saw my review of this, the Insta361 X2, the problem right now is that we have such short days. I mean, we have like 4.5 hours of sunlight. But so much of that, the sun is so low on the horizon, it's difficult to go places and film. So like literally I ran down somewhere, I ran to where I was filming, I did the filming with this, and then I ran back and barely made it back before it was dark. So I really want to try the Sony 200 to 600, but that lens is really like, that would be a premium wildlife lens because you could be way off and really get stuff in close. And so I've been wanting to like rent one to try it out and review for the channel, but I've heard great things about it. I just haven't had the chance to, and I'm kind of probably waiting till spring sometime when I don't have to freeze as much when I'm going out to do stuff, because that's going to take some time and some patience. Let's see. It looks very similar to the Spark. It does, Dronescape. That's true. Paul, you love the 24 1.4. I do too. It's such a great lens. Agent J Travel Walkthrough. Jake changed his last name to Money, the G Master lens. That's not true. I bought it used and I saved up for it. But man, oh man, is it a nice lens. I got it because I wanted to be able to go test the low light performance of the A7S III out by going and filming the Aurora. So far, that hasn't happened. It will sometime. So let's see. Paul, first to see how decent the Viltrox lenses are. Yeah, I'm very curious to see those new Viltrox lenses as well. They've been putting out some great stuff. Nicholas, ask it in the chat. Hey, Tommy Calloway, you should just buy lights. Dude, I've got a light. And look at all those lights back there. Look at all those lights. But it's true. Tommy is right. You should buy lights. If you buy a camera, say you ought to spend, I'm putting words in Tommy's, actually I'm not putting words in Tommy's mouth. This is what he would tell you. If you go buy this camera for $1,700 right now and this lens for $800 right now, that is, I'm going to have to do math, 2,500 US dollars. Then you should go out and buy about $2,500 worth of lights. Because this camera with good lighting will be amazing. This camera with bad lighting will still be terrible. Better than a cell phone, but still be terrible. I mean, really, you could get away with good lighting in a cell phone much easier than you can get away with a good camera and bad lighting. So, let's see. Stephen Deep, the 20 millimeter 1.8 is sharp at a lower price point compared to the 24 1.4. Yes, that's true, Stephen Deep. And the only reason I went with the 24 1.4 was the extra low light performance. That was it, strictly. This winter, I am going to go out and film the Aurora and a bunch of astro time lapses and stuff like that. And so I just want to get the absolute best low light performance I could get. Combo FPV, people getting crafty with the under 250 gram long range quads though. That's true, Combo. I've been looking at some of those and man, some of those 3 and 4 inch long range quads look really good. Really, really good. I really want to try one out. Sam, thank you. Channel's awesome. Keep it up. Debating pulling the trigger on the Mini 2, but can't help think the Mavic 3 is right around the corner. So Sam, I mean, who knows? My guess is it'll be, I don't know, February, March. It's probably when the Mavic 3 is going to come out. February, March is my guess. Yeah. Just food? All right, Tommy. I won't put anything in your mouth. Just food. Oh, my gosh. Tommy, put an Aperture 600D on a drone and spaceship light up the night. There is a guy up here who put just a couple of insanely powerful LED lights on a drone and lifted them around, and it's pretty cool what they did. I don't have a drone that size. They did, but yeah. Let's see. Hello, Shadi. 18 to 300. 3585. Nice. What's my guess on the DJI FPV combo cost? The combo is probably going to be around $1,000, $1,200 is my guessing, because that's what you would spend for an equivalent other drone and goggles. My guess is the drone itself will probably cost around $400 or $500, and then the goggles and the remote and stuff like that. So, but that's, yeah, my guess is about the combo for the goggles, controller, and drone, I'm guessing, is going to be right around $1,000 to $1,200. And that's me speculating 100%. So, Mini 2 or Air 2 for nature photography, digital and small medium prints. I would go with the Air 2 for that, Stefan. And actually, I mean, honestly, if you can go for it, either wait for the Mavic 3 or get the Mavic 2 Pro, because it's the 1-inch sensor. It just gives you a much more leeway to be able to work with the images in post, even over the Air. The Air 2 is better than the Mini 2-ish. It's more debatable because the whole 48 megapixel quad Bayer sensor stuff and all that is, I want to say it's like a parlor tricks. It's not. There is improvement, but it's not massive. You do see a lot of improvement with the 1-inch sensor on the Mavic 2 Pro. So either wait for the Mavic 3 Pro, which will probably be a $1,500 to $1,700 US drone, but it'll have the best image quality or anything like that. So thanks, Bob Casey. Support Jake Sloan. The Sloan Ranger. Yeah, man. That's it. Dear Lord, you guys are chatting. Any rumors on the RX 10.5? No, man. Yeah, I wonder about that, Stefan. Very cool. So, but Sony did, and that's a nice segue, Sony did register 2 new cameras. Everybody's speculating that the A7 IV is going to be one of those ones that they registered, and then an RX line, which honestly, I would love to see the RX 0 Mark III, but it could be the 10 Mark V, or it could be the 100 Mark 10, whatever the 100 Mark something is. Yeah. Let's see. That's right, Brian. 2 more weeks for the Aurora. Middle of December, we're supposed to have another good display. So hopefully the weather will cooperate and we'll yeah. Steep and Deep Outdoors. You've been shooting with the 200 to 600 since it came out. Great lens, but does suffer slightly because it's not fast. For video shooting at 50K 24, it's pretty good in your low light. I can't imagine, like, the first thought I had was video shooting with a 200 to 600 is like hand holding it and shooting like that. It'd be hilarious, but it probably would be great for shooting wildlife. So yeah, and it does. That's the thing. It's 200 to 600. It doesn't have a very wide open aperture. Is it like f5.6 or 6.3 or something like that? But I can imagine it would be great for getting video of mountain goats along the sides of turning an arm, or bears from a distance, a safe distance. So, Noah Temple, you're wanting to do some more night photography time-lapse. What sort of f-stop would I recommend? Noah, if you can get an f-stop of 2.8, like this here, the Tamron, it's the 17 to 28 is what I use. But if you look at my astrophotography review of that lens, it's good for low light. It's good for astrophotography. I used it on the A7 III. It did a great job. And so if you can get an f2.8 lens, that's great. So yeah. Combo FPV, you're literally never going to get to break out your new camera. Every time you're on a trip, you're at work. Oh yeah, I know, bro. We need to, yeah. I really wanted you to go with me to the ice caves when I reviewed this and flew this through the ice caves, because I thought it'd be fun. Those ice caves are probably all buried with avalanches now. I'm glad I went when I did, because they have gotten a ton of snow down in that area. It'd be a little too dangerous to go out there right now anyway, I think. So, yeah. Jake's Drone Life. So with remote ID coming, you'll still be able to fly your Mavic Air 2 as a hobbyist, or should you get the Mini 2 and ditch the Air 2? You're worried about this. Jake, don't worry about it yet. Even they're going to come out with the final ruling in December, probably right around Christmas, so they can kick us all in the gut. But even with that, it's going to be several years before it's implemented. So stick with your Air 2 for now, and by the time all that stuff rolls around, you'll probably be ready for an upgrade anyway. So don't sweat it yet, bro. It's going to be all right. Yes. Yeah, there are, Paul. There have been, since the Mavic 2 series, they've been putting in unique ID transmitting from the transmitter, the ability to transmit a unique ID. So they've been aware of remote ID coming, and they've been working toward it anyway. So a lot of the drones, like, the Skydio 2, they were, somebody asked them about, how would you guys handle that? And Skydio 2 was like, oh, we already have everything we need in the drone. All we have to do is flip some switches via firmware, and everything will be compliant. So drone manufacturers have been watching this stuff for a while. And so, yeah. Anyway, hey, Canadian Drone Hub. Good to see you. Let's see. Paul, why are you not a moderator? There. I just gave Paul a blue wrench. I don't know if Paul wants a blue wrench, but he has a blue wrench now. Will Moffat. Thank you. I appreciate that, Will. I appreciate that a lot. Jake's Drone Life, the UUID. Yes, that's the unique user identifier. So, yeah. Producer Paul. That's right. Mark H. Like the Insta361 X2 review. Yeah, actually, this Like, so this is, this is the original Insta360 one. Oh, jeez. And it was okay. It wasn't great. And the workflow was weird, and I just didn't care for it. This one, on the other hand, is the first 360 camera that I've been like, yeah, I like using this thing. It was fun to use, and it is fun to use. Now, the only caveat to that is, and a big part of the stuff that I wanted to focus on in the review was the fact that this has 360-degree spatial audio, because it has 1, 2, 3, 4 microphones on it. The idea of that is that you can record a 360 video, and so you record a 360 video, and then when somebody watches it on a VR headset and they turn their head, the audio moves in the correct spatial areas with them. So a huge part of what I wanted to focus on with the review on this camera was the spatial audio. This particular camera has an issue where the Bluetooth interferes with the microphones. So I talked to Insta360 about it, and they were like, yeah, I sent them some samples, because I went to like 7 different locations and set this out there and just recorded, 5 minutes of 360-degree footage and spatial audio. So I was like, this will be great. I'll put it, and and part of the review will be about the spatial audio, and then I'll put a link to a 360 video that if you want to go see and experience these places in Alaska, like the ice caves, with 360-degree audio, so it's super immersive, then you can go click on this link. Well, then I discovered the problem after I recorded almost all of the review, recorded the footage. And so I sent them a sample, and I said, this is the issue I'm having. Like, is it normal? Because if it's normal, I can't. Anyway, they said, no, it's not, but they don't have any more units. They couldn't send me another unit in time. And so I just said, you know what, I'll just publish a review about the video. And then when I get my hands on a unit with the audio fixed, I will talk about the audio. So anyway, but it is I did not think I would like it as much as I did. So, yeah. Let's see. So don't do any more firmware updates. Oh my gosh. All right, I caught up on the chat. I think I caught up in the chat. If I've missed your question, then please, by all means, ask it again in the chat, and I will try and answer it. Post-production horsepower needed for 360 video. So, Peter McLennan, I almost all the video you saw from the camera, I processed on my phone. Well, no, that's not true. I processed some on my phone, which is actually really, really easy to work with 360 video and the app. It's super easy. And then I did the rest. So most of the video you saw in the beginning, like that first 1.5-minute sequence I did, was processed on my 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro. It wasn't bad. It crunched through it okay. The files are big because you're talking about dealing with 5.7K. It's a lot of info. But yeah, it didn't have an issue. So my laptop, I think any of the new Apple M1 things would just tear through it pretty easily. Thanks, Sunrise. I appreciate that. Felipe asks, do I think the Mavic 3 will have a bigger or smaller than the Mavic 2? I'm hoping it's the same size, personally. I don't want it to be bigger. I'm worried that they're going to go a little bigger, and I really don't want them to, but I think they're going to try and push with Evo on slightly larger size. So, but yeah, I'm hoping it's the same size. Maybe slightly smaller would be amazing. It'll probably have 360-degree obstacle avoidance. Not as good as like Skydio and stuff, but I think it'll stick with the same 1-inch sensor, but pretty drastically improve the image quality. Maybe give us like 5-point-something K video out of it, or 6K video out of it, which would be cool. Not that you need it, but it'd make for better 4K maybe, depending on how they handle the pixel binning or line skipping. I agree, Paul. Is it worth buying the Insta360? Ooh, Will. So, it depends. It depends on a lot of things. Like, if you're doing extreme sports type stuff and you want to be able to just have a camera on a pole, but you know you're going to capture everything you need to capture, then yes, this is a good camera. Or the GoPro Max would be a good one too, probably. I haven't used one, so I couldn't say, but I'm pretty sure it'd be good. If you want to capture behind the scenes of you doing stuff, then yes, this is a good camera. If you want to do 360 content for Facebook or for YouTube, then yeah, this is a good camera. If you're just looking to get an action camera that you can use like a GoPro, then I would just get a GoPro. It's easier to work with the files if you just drop them straight in. So. Singivity asks if I like living in Alaska. Is it cheaper to purchase property there? I do like living in Alaska. It is not cheaper to purchase anything up here. Everything is expensive. Starliniator 10 just signed on. What's up with the DJI FPV drone? Sorry, you just missed something. You just missed everything. No, it's... They're the, hey, AZ Drone Dude, welcome. Yeah. So the rumors are that DJI is going to release an FPV drone. The rumors have been that way for a while. Then these pictures surfaced on the interwebs of what looks like a pretty close to finished production model FPV drone of some sort from DJI. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited about it. I'll get one and do the whole thing, but we'll see. Paul, I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Low-key plug, Paul. Yeah. So, hey, Tim Jackson, welcome. A7 Mark IV, gonna make it. Is the A7 Mark IV going to make it early this year? We all snag up the A7 III. The A7 III is a great buy right now, but if you don't need it, then I would wait, because chances are the A7 Mark IV is going to arrive early, first quarter next year, February, March, something like that is my guess. So let's see. Richard, you're back for the second week in a row. Thanks for coming back. Welcome. You found my Ronin SC2 video and appreciate my other content in these live sessions. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Are we getting the weather later today? Oh my gosh, don't even. Mavic 3 before September or October. It's my, not before September or October. That's your opinion? Maybe, but that would put them almost 3 years from an update, and they generally do like 18 months to 2 years. But then again, 2020 has been an interesting year, so you never know. Combo, did I say just get a GoPro? Well, if you're not trying to capture yourself doing something crazy, but you don't have to worry about framing the camera, like if you're just wanting to use a camera to like film stuff, action camera style, but not like capture everything and then work with it in post, then a GoPro is easier to work with. But if you are wanting to like capture footage of yourself doing crazy things, without having to worry about framing it until later, then yeah, this is the way to go. This or the GoPro Max or whatever the GoPro 360 camera is called now. Let's see. If you're new at vlogging, what do I suggest when it comes to a drone? Mini 2 or Mavic Air 2? I would start with the Mini 2. Yeah, I'd start with the Mini 2. The only reason to get the Air 2 over the Mini 2, not the only reason, but one of the big reasons would be if you're going to track yourself, like riding a bike through the woods or stuff like that. Oh, Paul, yes. Yes, I'm very excited about that. So, yeah. I mean, either one of those would work, but if you're wanting to have a smaller, lighter weight setup, then the Mini 2 is great. But yeah, the big thing is if you want to track yourself going places, the Air 2 for sure. Thank you, Starling Eater. Appreciate that. By the way, the Ronin SC doesn't support the Nikon Z6 II yet. The record button doesn't work into firmware update for the gimbal. Oh, interesting. Stephen Deep Outdoor, did I ever get an Evo to test? They're still reviewing your intro, dealing with camera. No, but I have been in talks with them, and I think right now where it stands is they're waiting on me to send them paperwork. Like, serious amount of paperwork. So that's the holdup on my end, so. Jackson, you're waiting for the Mavic Mini 3 with a flux capacitor. You heard we'll get back to the 80s. Well, if that's the case, I'll buy one so I can buy stock in some companies that got big. Let's see. Mini 2 should be able to track the controller position. It can't right now as far as like follow tracking and stuff like that. It doesn't do anything like that. Now, Litchi, the app Litchi, made it possible with the Mini 1. So I think as soon as the SDK is available for the Mini 2, they will probably implement that same feature in Litchi. So the Mini 2 should be able to track you with the Litchi app down the road. But who knows? So, yeah. Singzivity, what's my advice when it comes to being myself on camera or being yourself on camera? It's one of the hardest things to do. The best way to do that is just do it a lot. The more you do it, the more you will relax and it will just become normal. So, but a lot of times you have to do it away from people to just get the feeling of it. And then it just becomes normal and it's not a big deal. But do it a lot. Kevin Stern, is the A7C slow motion 1080p as bad as the A7 III? Will upscaling to 4K suffice? You really love 4K 60 FPS, which is why you're eyeing the X-T4, but Fuji's autofocus is a big issue. So it is basically the same as the A7 III, Kevin. The sensor's the same. Most of the processing is the same. The color science has changed, so it closer matches the A7S III. But I did today, I was to say pull the trigger, but I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't buy one. But I do have one coming that I'm going to be able to do a head-to-head comparison of the A7 III and the A7C, because one of them is more suited to video work and one of them is more suited to photo work, even though they're almost the same every other way. But because of the way they set the cameras up, they are a little different that way. So, but yeah, it does have a better autofocus system though. The A7C does than the A7 III. Is it really that bad? The colors on the are better on the A7C, flip out screen, tracking autofocus, no record limit. Everything else is the same as the A7 III. Yes, Paul, that's true. Although the A7 III, the difference too is if you're a photographer, the A7 III is going to be better for you because you have a front dial, a rear dial, you have more custom buttons, and wow, why was that? Anyway, so for photography, the A7 III is going to be a better camera for you. For videography, the A7C for sure. But being able to quickly adjust, f-stop, shutter speed, ISO really fast on the A7 III is crucial for photography, in my opinion. Hey, Stingray Aerial Solutions. Good to see you here. Jake's Drone Life. What's a good beginner camera for somebody just getting into photography? Ooh, yeah. So I would start with the Canon. What is it? A Canon Rebel is going to be good to jump in with. A Canon Rebel with a kit lens. The A6400 with a kit lens is a great camera. The Sony A6400 with a kit lens is like $1,000. It's a great camera too. You could go to the A6600, but then you're basically in A7 III territory. So then I would go up to A7 III anyway. But yeah, so I'd look at the A6400 or like the Canon Rebel T. I don't remember what the Canon's names are anymore. Bubba Chunky asks, primes or telephoto? I'm using a prime now. I have an 85mm prime that I like, but most of the time I use telephoto zoom lenses just because they're more versatile. Yeah, Paul, I agree. Sony or Nikon for landscape, Khrushchev? At this point, I would think the Sony A7R III or A7R4 is kind of great for landscapes because the resolution you have available to you is fantastic. Eddie Nunez, which studio light do I recommend combined with which softbox? Oh, man, where's Tommy Calloway when you need him? He was here earlier. So I'm using the Godox SL60W with the Aperture Light Dome 2. Before that, I had the newer Light Dome, 36-inch Light Dome, it's a parabolic softbox, which I like. Gives you this beautiful soft light. Makes me look really overexposed. Why is my camera overexposing? Anyway, so I think I gotta set my ISO. There. That's better. So that's what I've been using. The SL60W is great, but the newer ones, it's like the SLV or VF 60 or 120 or whatever they are from Godox. I would get one of those and do the 36-inch softbox if you have the space. If you don't have the space, then the Falcon Eyes LED light mats are great because you can squeeze them into very small spaces, and they're very lightweight. That's what I'm using over here. And that's what I use on most of the stuff I go out and shoot for clients, just because they're so easy to take with me and set up in any space. And they put out a fair amount of light. So, Richard, what primer am I using right now? The Sony 24mm 1.4 G Master. Felipe asked, do I think the Mini 2 will be compatible with a smart controller anytime soon? Do I enjoy the smart controller over the regular controller? I do enjoy the smart controller over the regular controller just because I don't have to mess with my phone, and it does better at colder temperatures. I think it'll be a few months before it's compatible, if it is. Jake's Drone Life. Oh, that's a great deal. $500 for an A6400 is a great deal. That's a good camera. I would jump on that if you can. A nice zoom, 24 to 70, 28 to 75. Exactly. Yeah, Paul, that's great advice. If you get a zoom lens, like this is the 28 to 75, you kind of figure out what focal lengths you use the most, and then you can go buy those primes. Because primes are always going to be sharper than zooms are, just because of the mechanics of lens design and refraction and diffraction and all those other things. Kevin, with 1080p on the Sony, did I end up exporting in 4K a lot? And if so, were you satisfied with the results generally compared to real 4K? So, I mean, I started doing all my stuff in 4K beginning of last year, I think. And yeah, I found, in fact, actually, but this is the A7S III now. My Mavic Air 2 versus Mini 2 video. This will be fun. The Mavic Mini 2, or the DJI Mini 2, I got to stop calling it the Mavic. The DJI Mini 2 versus Mavic Air 2. There is about, I don't know, a quarter of that video, or maybe a third of that video was filmed in 1080p with the A7S III. Because my buddy who was up there filming with me didn't realize it. He had switched the camera into the only mode I had that was set on 1080. And so you go watch that video and see if you can tell where the 1080p footage is and where the 4K footage is. It's none of the drone footage. That's all 4K, but a bunch of the talking head footage and a bunch of like the B-roll with this kind of camera, handheld camera, was filmed in 1080p accidentally, and I up-resed it to 4K and uploaded it to YouTube. So go watch the video and see if you can figure out which one it is. Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's when I lean back, my face is like less of the frame, and so then the camera's like, "Hey, I gotta expose that higher." I'm gonna go there. I feel like there we go. That's a little better. I don't know what my white balance is doing either, because I don't think I'm this tan. But I have it anyway. Whatever, doesn't matter. Off-axis screamer. I'm the only streamer you know knows how to use a camera. That's awesome. Eddie Nunez. Yes, the VL50 or the SL50. I would do the VL50 personally. Those are great lights. Like if I upgrade this one, that's what I'm going to go to. They're better, more accurate color-wise. Just, yeah, those are great lights. So that's what I would jump on if you can. Home Depot halogen work light and white foam core, Peter. Yeah, that works too. Thank you, Bikram. I'm sorry, I'm probably going to butcher your name, so that's all I'm going to say there. But thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Starliner? No. Starlineator, sorry. I don't think DJI will. I think the app Litchi will, but DJI will not add follow me or active track mode to the Mini 2. But Litchi did it with the Mini 1, so I think they'll do it with the Mini 2 as soon as they can. Oh, yeah, that's right, Paul. So the SL or the VL, either one, but the SL is probably cheaper. A7R2, good deal for $1,200 for a hybrid shooter. No, I wouldn't do that for $200 or $1,200. I would, if you can get a few $100s more, I would get the A7 III for whatever $1,600, whatever it is on sale right now, because it's way better autofocus, better color science. Yeah. That's what I would do for a hybrid shooter, especially. The video modes in the A7 III are vastly improved over the A7R2. Raw photos from the Mavic Mini. I take the card out and do it. Hey, Phantom Flight 101. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Bubba Chunky, are Peter Max VND filters worth the first 4 kids? Thank you, Felipe. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Bowie Chuggy, yes, if the VND from Peter McKinnon are worth it. I have one. I do use it. But honestly, I prefer the VND filters from Freewell. They're cheaper. They are 99% as good or better in some cases. In some use cases, they are better, in my opinion. But yeah, so Freewell does send me stuff for free. They do send, like they sent me the drone filters for the Mini 2, and I'm working on that. But the VND filter that I use that you see on most of the videos from Freewell is one I purchased myself. They didn't send it to me, and I purchased a few of their other, like the action camera filters. I've purchased a few, a few of the filters just because I like their filters. They are better, and the variable ND filter from Freewell has held up better than the one from Polar Pro. My Polar Pro one has some scratches on it now. It's a couple other little issues going on where the Freewell is still going strong. So that's what I would recommend, the Freewell filters. And if you want, I probably have links somewhere in the description. Is the quality of photos or video better firsthand versus YouTube? You got to think it is. It is, Vonner. YouTube compresses everything quite a bit. Will Muffet, you listed Australia. Great footage. Come to Australia after COVID-19. I would love to come to Australia. I've got friends in Australia. I really would like to come there someday. Australia. I'd like to do Australia. I'd also like to go visit New Zealand. And someday I want to go to Antarctica. But, that might be a while. Peter McLennan, do I think the A7S III will shoot video of the Aurora? It will. It will. I've seen other people do it, and so I know it will, and that was a big reason I got the 24 G Master lens, was just to get the extra light I could. So, yeah. Stevie76. You were asking, keep stuff on topic, man. Sorry, I thought you were a spammer too. I just saw the kind of off-topic question, and that's usually an indication of somebody who's just spamming, trolling. So, let's see. What is best? Preferably Nikon or Sony camera for a hybrid shooter with a few sharp lenses not exceeding $2,500. Ooh. Honestly, a few sharp lenses is going to be a struggle, but the Sony A7 III you can get with a good lens, like a 24-70 or 24-105 for about $2,500. The Nikon Z6 II is another good one, but I haven't used it, so it's very similar to the A7 III though, but a few lenses is going to be hard. So maybe the A6600 with a few lenses, because the APS-C lenses are less expensive. You could definitely go that route. Exactly, Paul. You can get two variable ND filters from Freewell, a 2 to 5 stop and a 5 to 9 stop or 6 to 9 stop for the same price as one singular Peter McKinnon filter. They're not, Peter McKinnon's filters aren't bad. They're just, I feel like they're overpriced for what they are. Branding. It's branding. So. You're welcome, Felipe. Thank you. I do appreciate the super chat. I'd love to see my opinion on the RX10 Mark IV bridge camera showdown. So I had an RX10 Mark IV, and it was okay. It wasn't great, and it's kind of limiting. Even though the lens is like, you have this crazy and giant lens, it's not great in low light. Yeah, so I had it for like 3 months or 4 months. I went out in the middle of the night and shot some stuff with it at night, and I shot some stuff with it during the day, and then I was just like, you know what, this thing's just not doing it for me. It's not working well, and it was not being able to change lenses out is pretty limiting in the long run. And being that, at least when I bought it, I think it was like $1,200 or $1,400, that you could get an A6400 and a lens for that price and get way better performance, that's the direction I would go. Hey, Michael. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see. Your first child went for the 14 to 24, 2.8. Your second kid for an ND filter. Might have to do it virtually. Yeah, I might, man. You never know. Let's see. Is there a platform, Agent JS? If there's a platform where you can see my videos in its full quality. Yeah, I mean, YouTube is the only place I really post the videos right now. And part of the reason I post them in 4K is to get the best quality I can out of YouTube. So for the A7 III, still worth it? In my opinion, for doing both photo and video work, yes. It is still the best hybrid camera on the market. Now, that might change in a month or two because Sony did register 2 new cameras. One is likely the A7 IV, which probably will come out early next year. So then the A7 III will probably not be the best hybrid camera on the market. But right now, I think it still is probably one of the best hybrid cameras on the market. Let's see. Does GM lens get appreciated with a high-res camera or... No. So if you're going to invest your money in something that's going to last a while, lenses are where you invest the money, because that is going to go with you from camera body to camera body. Camera body you might upgrade every couple of years, where lenses you're going to have, you know, maybe for a lifetime. So yeah. But does a GM lens get appreciated without the high res? Honestly, the GM lenses right now, most of them, like the zoom lenses at least, are in the same neighborhood as the Tamron lenses. So I would go with the Tamron lenses because you're saving a ton of money. But like the 24G Master, that is a phenomenal lens. And if Sony releases like a 16mm GM lens, that'll probably be a crazy great camera. That's what you're seeing now. It definitely is sharp, like sharp. Even streaming, it's sharp, which is incredible. Let's see. You have an A7 III looking to replace your second body for photo or video. Would you go A7 III or A7R III for roughly the same price? Ooh. I mean, I think if you're doing a lot of photo work, I would go with the R3 because you get the extra resolution that you can do a lot more with cropping and post, and it's a good camera. The A7R III is for a lot of photo work. And it does video. The video is comparable to the A7 III, so they would match up and pair up really well. So yeah, that's my vote. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Rick. I'm glad you're feeling better and back home. I'm really glad to hear that, man. I've been thinking about you a lot. Let's see. FPV Drone. What's the rumors on the FPV drone from DJI? Well, let me show you some photos. These are the photos that have circulated the internets, which means it's probably actually getting close to being a reality. Whether or not it's out before the end of the year is hard to say. But, you know, it's coming, so it'll be interesting. Look, I don't think that anybody who's like seriously into FPV and building their own drones, whether it's that or my 5 inches over there. You know, like if you're doing that, the DJI FPV drone is not going to be for you. It's just not. Probably. I think the only reason it might be something that I'd be interested in, other than being able to review it and get those sweet, sweet clicks and views on YouTube, I think the only reason I would be interested in it if it has a mode where you can go from doing full acro, regular FPV stuff, like more on the cinematic side of FPV stuff though, but you know, and getting great footage, to switching to GPS mode, like you could do with iNav, where you could just flip a switch and have it loiter and hold its position there for a few minutes. Like that would be cool. But I mean, I put GPS on my drones and set up return to home and all that. Now DJI probably will do it better, but yeah. Bruce Kenny, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that, man. I hope you're doing well. Best gimbal in my opinion, Bikram. Oof, man. So, like small lightweight gimbal, the best right now is definitely like the DJI RSC2 and the Ronin S, or not the Ronin S, the Weeble S are still like they're both very good gimbals, and you can't really see it. My Weeble S is back there, and I got the RSC2 over here. I do need to do a review of it. Good Lord! But if you're looking for heavier weight setups, then you need to look at the Crane 2S or the DJI SRS2. So, yeah. Peter McLennan cropping a post equals free telephoto. That's true. Let's see. Agree plastic is going to break and have crazy problems. Yeah, that's my only thing. If they built the FPV drone out of plastic, they're going to have a lot of broken ones. See you, Paul. See you soon, probably. I don't know, Zorro. It should still be out there if you search it. It's on a different channel, but it should still be there. I haven't taken anything down. Let's see. Stingray, probably carbon fiber frame with plastic to cover it. That's my thought, is they maybe carbon fiber. I mean, obviously carbon fiber frame, they should if they're smart, and then cover it with plastic. Or to me, like it almost looks like that. I mean, it's plastic, but like a rubberized plastic maybe. So it has a little more resiliency, I hope. I don't know. It's hard to say. And then there's that big heat sink right back there. So it's obviously got some processing power going on. It's going to be interesting. That's for sure. Let's see. You think it's going to be like a Mavic, but with an FPV camera? See, I don't know, JFPV, because like I tried the FPV modes with my Mavics, and the problem is you cannot. It is so difficult to get the same motion when a drone is doing this sort of stuff. Like you're just doing these. It just is. It's so hard to get the same motion. So my thought is that if they put a gimbal in there, like say it's a 1 or 2 axis gimbal for stabilization, and they can have it lock and lock into FPV mode. So the drone is actually doing FPV movements and you're getting FPV footage, but then you could flip a switch and have it go into like stabilized GPS drone mode. That would be interesting to me. I think that would be cool. I think, whatever happens, whatever it is going to open up FPV to more people to be able to get into it. Because if you don't know electronics and soldering and, tuning and stuff like that, then jumping into FPV can be pretty intimidating. Let's see. DJI SC at $279 at BH Photo. So, Alan, I would not get the DJI Ronin SC at this point. I would get the Weeble S because it's a much better gimbal than the SC is, or the RSC2, personally. So, Bikram, I am going to. I have it. It took me a while to get it because I had to wait for them to get the Pro combo in stock because I want to do the direct, like the Raven Eye and object tracking and all that. And then June sent me their Pro combo for the Crane 2S. So I got to work with that. But it's just been a matter of like, I finally got it. Did I not put the, oh, there it is. I finally got it all, and I've had other, like, there was one week I put out 5 videos because I'm trying to get caught up so then I can move into these things because I've, yeah. Anyway, so. Agreed, Alan. It does look like a Spark 2, but FPV, it does. The aerials on the headset are scary looking. Yeah, Peter, that's what, like, I mean, those are the FPV goggles that DJI makes now, but they do have really big, long aerials. So I switched mine out with smaller ones just because it's easier to pack and take places. I don't have to take the antennas off and on every single time. But, yeah. So, let's see. DJI is going to say 4K 60 FPS, but DJI goggle doesn't support 4K. Do I think a new goggle coming out? I don't think they're going to release a new goggle. Wow. Anyway, I don't think they're going to release a new goggle. I think what they're going to do is do on the drone 4K 60 FPS stabilized video recording onto an SD card, like what most of us do when we stick a GoPro on. This is a naked GoPro that I, totally ripped everything apart from and put into this little case. So that you don't have to add a action camera of any sort onto the drone, but I think the link to the goggles will still be the 720p at 60 FPS or whatever you're watching. But Chris Reinhardt, great channel, just starting the drone hobby. Oh, cool. Look at action cameras. 360 cameras look interesting. You want to take solid photos, better than your iPhone. Where would you start? Oh, so Chris, that depends on the iPhone, man. If you have anything from the iPhone 11 or 12 line, you are not going to find an action camera that will take better photos. Like the iPhone 11 and 12 are phenomenal photo cameras, and I would stick with that. Now if you're looking for 360 photos, that's different. Then I would go with something like the Insta361 or the GoPro Max. But I hate to say it, but phones have outpaced action cameras as far as footage and photos go, especially in low light. The computational photography is just phenomenal in low light. Thanks, JFPV. I don't do tons of FPV stuff, but I do include my drone and FPV footage in all of my videos because I live in Alaska and it's amazing. And why wouldn't you capture it with a drone? And so, yeah, it's fun. Besides that, FPV is fun. Christopher, yeah, it is. It is. That's true. So let's see. Well, I need to wrap it up in the next couple of minutes here. I know Original Dobo and Paul Feinberg will start streaming over there pretty soon. So if you have any more questions, it's a good time to ask. I'm excited to see what the DJI FPV drone actually looks like whenever it actually comes out, which being the fact that looks like retail packaging, they're probably getting pretty close. My guess is it's going to cost $1,000 to $1,200 for the combo and $450 to $500 for the drone. We'll see. But I'm excited to see what it can do and what it will do. Mark H, thank you so much. I appreciate your support, man. I really do, you guys. It means a lot to me. It really does. So on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for being here tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Look forward to doing this again. Same time, same place next week. In the meantime, there'll be more videos coming. My Friday 5-minute tips will be coming, and a review on some other stuff. Maybe on this, if I can get a break in the weather, which it looks like there may be, to go out and test this thing out a little bit in the winter weather. So, Stingray, for sure get DJI refresh on that drone. Yes, no kidding. So, anyway, thank you all. Be safe. Take care. Be smart. Fly smart. Have fun. And, yeah. Appreciate you all being part of this channel. I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.